As we are now using artificial intelligence, I thought that um, it's more appropriate to use a different model in my presentation. So what I'm using is not a PowerPoint. I'm using a special tool, which is now my disclosure. This module was created by Smart Builder, and Smart Builder is using advanced AI-based model, which is making the presentation more interactive. And when or if I may, in the future, share this presentation with you, you may be able to use all of the calculators and AI tools inside the presentation to help you with your patient at the same time. And that can be published online. So this module, I cannot call it presentation, not just slides. It is a module that can be shared, and you can have it through our website or through some different platform, and you can use it the same interactive way that I'm showing you during the presentation. So let me start. I'm talking in this presentation about two main aspects. The applying artificial intelligence model in our practice, it is integrate clinical assessment when we have clinical problems at the bedside, and also for you as educator, if you are a senior pediatrician or neonatologist and you're educating your fellows or your staff, we need to use also, or you need to know how to use artificial intelligence as a scholar model. So I have five main objectives here, and the first objective, I'm talking about the outcome. So keep in mind that I'm talking about past, present, and the future at the end of my presentation. Many years ago, which is the past part of my talk, we already evaluated the outcome risk score of shock. I will be focusing mainly on shock, which is the most challenging part in hemodynamics, with and without comprehensive assessment. We used to assess shock by looking at mean blood pressure. Mean blood pressure, more or less or equal to gestational age, and make it simple. So the same idea as Dr. Khorshid mentioned, that we are trying in our practice to simplify things. And when we come to a more advanced way or more detailed scores, we have difficulty applying that because we used to make it simple. And that's the main challenge when we introduced the IEH, or Integrated Evaluation of Hemodynamics model. So to convince our colleagues and to convince everyone all over the world that integrated hemodynamics is the way to go, and we have to come out of using mean blood pressure equal to gestational age to assess shock, we have to prove that in research, and I will show you that in the next slide. So that's the first outcome. The second outcome, we used AI to create digital assessment tools for hemodynamics. And these digital assessment tools, actually, we created that. We started doing that since 2020. That's before the era or before ChatGPT and artificial intelligence. And we used this digital models basically based on the Smart Builder software that I'm using in my presentation, or different other calculator softwares. And one of them is available on App Store, which is integrated hemodynamics calculator. Anyone can use it. It's available only in App Store. And I will show you how we created that also during the presentation. And then we presented the value of using digital smart educator. Now, if we are conducting educational sessions or workshops, which is the most effective way of education, rather than just talking to the people through a classroom or through a presentation virtually, as we are doing now, there's much more effective way of teaching, which is digital smart educator, a new way which is self-driven. You don't have to have the presenter with you, and you can do it yourself at your pace, and they will give you the feedback immediately. The educator will give you a feedback and will teach you step by step how to evaluate and how to understand the physiology and the most difficult aspects, not only in hemodynamics and neonatology, pediatrics, or anything that you can imagine. And also, I will show you during the presentation how to use a digital smart educator, which we started already using it in the previous workshop that we conducted in Winnipeg 2 weeks ago. Cloning, which now what we are working on, it is almost similar to the idea that Dr. Khorshid mentioned about how to make the AI, ChatGPT or whatever other platform experts who make another version of myself. Instead of you want me to ask a question if you have any difficulty understanding hemodynamics, or instead of my colleagues consulting me every day about cases, difficult cases on shock or so, we have this model here, which can be cloned or twinning. So creating a twin of the expert with everything that I have in my experience, including published articles, presentations, everything that can be linked to the AI, and the AI can give the question, guidelines, everything. Again, I will show you how we did that. And now we'll talk about the future, how the future looks like or will look like in AI era. So let us start after this introduction. So that was the research article that we published in Journal of Perinatology, the publisher Nature, 8 years ago, about the impact of integrated evaluation of hemodynamics, IEH, integrated evaluation of hemodynamics, including echocardiography, including detailed assessment of the blood pressure, relying on pulse pressure, diastolic blood pressure, instead of just looking at the mean blood pressure to assess different phenotypes of shock, and also assessment of PA and pulmonary hypertension. So if I ask you as a fellow or as a resident to appraise this article and present it, you may spend one day reading the article and also comparing the similar publications happened, and you may need to present that over maybe 1 hour time. There is also available now in artificial intelligence platform, including Google. So you can apply the article and create different models. And each model you can use it over just a few minutes. For example, you can create a video, short video, 7 minutes. It will give you the extract and you'll understand everything I meant to you in this article. In only 7 minutes, can create guidelines extracted from this article, can create a score that can help you in the clinical assessment. Let me show you that one by one. So first, the next is just a video for 3 minutes. I cut just half of the video, the last part of the video. It was total about 7 minutes, and just to show you or explain to you the value of this article in very interactive way. And I'm sure that you will be listening to the video until the end. With it's not the same way as we teach, but very interactive, as someone like actor presenting a show to you. So let me show you that in the next slide. And please listen carefully.
Incredibly advanced, right? But it brings the most important question of all. Does it actually work? Does it make a real difference for these babies? Well, a study was done to find out exactly that. What the researchers did was they looked back at the data from 2 different groups of infants who all had compromised circulation. The first group, they called it E.U.P. 1, got the standard care, the way things were done before this new integrated approach. The second group, E.U.P. 2, got care that was guided by the full IEH toolkit. And they focused on a really specific, really crucial outcome. For these infants with struggling circulation, how long did it take them to recover? How long until they were stable? All right, let's look at the numbers. For the group that got the standard care, the median time to recovery was 71 hours. 71. That's almost 3 full days being unstable. And now, this group whose care was guided by IEH, what was their median recovery time? 36 hours. I mean, that is...
الصوت واطي يا دكتور.
Yeah, but that's simply.
Sorry?
الصوت
Can you hear them?
واطي.
Okay, let
لا
me
لو
increase.
في اوبشن نعلي الصوت بتاع الفيديو.
Okay, let me see if I can do that. I think that's the maximum. Let me try again. Is it better now?
دكتور ياسر يمكن unshare. I don't know if you chose the share sound option when you share.
You're absolutely right. So let me try that. Share computer sound.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually work? Does it make a real difference?
Is it better now?
Much better.
Yeah, okay.
كويس جدا.
Okay, this all sounds incredibly advanced, right? But it brings us to the most important question of all. Does it actually work? Does it make a real difference for these babies? Well, a study was done to find out exactly that. So, what the researchers did was they looked back at the data from two different groups of infants who all had compromised circulation. The first group, they called it EPOC 1, got the standard care. You know, the way things were done before this new integrated approach. The second group, EPOC 2, got care that was guided by the full IEH toolkit.
And they focused on a really specific, really crucial outcome. For these infants with struggling circulation, how long did it take them to recover? How long until they were stable?
All right, let's look at the numbers. For the group that got the standard care, the median time to recovery was 71 hours. 71! That's almost 3 full days of being unstable.
And now, the group whose care was guided by IEH, what was their median recovery time? Just 32 hours. I mean, that is a staggering difference.
Yeah, just let that sink in for a second. By using this more complete picture to guide treatment, the time it took for these fragile babies to get better was cut by more than half. That is a huge deal. It really suggests that better information leads directly to faster stabilization. And the good news didn't stop there. The study also looked at a PDA, which sometimes needs surgery to fix. In the standard care group, almost 16% of the infants ended up needing that surgery. But in the IEH group, that number dropped all the way down to just 4%. It's pretty clear this approach helps doctors avoid these big, invasive procedures. So what's the big picture here? What should we really take away from this new way of thinking about neonatal care? Let's quickly wrap up the key impacts. Well, the evidence points to some really clear advantages, right? Shorter recovery times, fewer unnecessary surgeries. But the real power here is that it allows for truly targeted, individualized care. For the first time, clinicians can get a deep understanding of the specific problem they need to solve for each individual patient. They're not just treating a low blood pressure number anymore, they're treating the reason behind it.
And you know, at the end of the day, it all comes back to a really fundamental goal. All this technology, all this data, all this expertise, it's all focused on one simple vital mission, making sure oxygen gets where it needs to go to protect those incredibly fragile, developing organs.
So the big takeaway is pretty simple. Seeing more allows us to do better. By embracing this complete picture of a patient's circulation, the IEH approach leads to much more precise treatments, and that leads to dramatically faster recoveries for the most vulnerable patients we have. And that leaves us with one last big question to think about. We've seen how powerful this approach is in the world of newborns, but the basic principles of understanding blood flow and oxygen delivery, those are universal in medicine, right? So could this shift, this move towards a more integrated whole-body approach, become the new standard of care for all of critical medicine? It's a question that could really shape the future of ICUs everywhere.
Okay, so no matter effort I do, I cannot present my research and summarize it in just 3 minutes in this wonderful way. And that was made with one of the Google application, which is it is just taking the presentation, that's really taking the article, and then can give you 4 different things. Can give you the video, can give you like a tree branching of all of the included items in the article, and also can create this research into a guidelines ready for you to use. What more can be done through artificial intelligence? We asked artificial intelligence to create a score called the physiologic burden score. So use the first epoch one when they are only relied on mean blood pressure, delta mean blood pressure, lactic acid, oxygen saturation, and urine output. These are the parameters that we were using typically more than 15 years ago, before implementation of target natal echo integrated hemodynamics approach. And if you have any case scenario, and just select from the menu here, whatever applicable, and based on the data that we published, the calculator or this software will give you the expected morbidity and mortality. So we have mean blood pressure low. I will just give you a sample case scenario, and I'll apply the same case scenario in Epoch 2 using the more advanced integrated approach. Exactly the same case scenario. So we have low mean blood pressure delta, mean blood pressure more than 20. So the other concept is that I will try to convince you, when you look at any data for any sick infant, don't look at one longitudinal assessment at one single time. You need to look at the delta vital sign. So you look at the number when the infant was stable, and then look at the number when the infant became unstable and calculate the difference. If the difference more than 20%, that's actually validated in literature, that's more significant, that's predict worsening of outcome or morbidity and even higher mortality. So for most of our vital signs, we are applying the same concept. So you need to look at the difference between two longitudinal assessment. Typically, you may have the blood pressure dropped, but still within normal. Then you don't have to continue watching without action. When you have more than 20% drop in any vital sign, including blood pressure, you have to consider intervention. Lactic acid, and you have the specification here. Is it less than 3 to 5, or more than 5? And then you have the oxygen saturation was maintained. There is no issue with the oxygen saturation and this case scenario, and urine output less than 1. This is specific case scenario will give us moderate risk, morbidity, and mortality. And then for the same case scenario, I did not assess the pulse pressure. I did not assess the delta pulse pressure. I did not look at the diastolic blood pressure, so not measured. And when you select not measured, this will be a punishment reaction from the calculator, because when these measurements were not assessed, then the outcome was worse, as per the research that we did. So the first epoch, when all of these measurements were not done, they had longer time to clinical recovery and higher mortality. So the mortality, although the number was not high enough to assess mortality, but the trend of mortality was higher in the first epoch. And then the delta diastolic blood pressure not measured, cardiac output was not done. That's before the era of target natal echo. Systemic vascular resistance not measured. Oxygen delivery not assessed, which is very important, helpful tool to understand and also easy to calculate. And shunt physiology not assessed. Pulmonary hypertension not assessed typically. Echo is not done. So you have very high risk of morbidity and mortality. So that was upgraded for moderate to very high risk. Just go back and do exactly the same for the same patient who in the book Epoch 2 and assessed by echocardiography and assessed by NIRS, and we calculated the oxygen delivery. Exactly the same data, and just let us. So you have moderate risk of morbidity and mortality, exactly the same, but we assess the blood pressure on time, which was normal. Delta blood pressure with a normal, like the delta was less than 20%. The systolic blood pressure was low because vasodilatory shock in our case example, and more than 20 delta blood pressure. Cardiac output was normal. Systemic vascular resistance was low. Oxygen delivery was borderline low. Just to give you almost real case scenario, and there was no shunt and no pulmonary hypertension. So low risk of morbidity and mortality. When you assess all of these measurements and react in real time, then you are in a better place. You can decrease the morbidity and mortality. And this typical calculator was created by help of ChatGPT based on our research. So overall, we have moderate risk of morbidity and mortality. That's after applying the integrated hemodynamics approach. So you did echocardiography, you calculated oxygen delivery, you assessed oxygen saturation by NIRS, and you have a better picture. You reacted in real time early instead of waiting long time just looking or reacting based on the mean blood pressure. So let us talk about the impact of using digital assessment hemodynamics. We try to make your life easier. Instead of just calculating all of these parameters yourself, we created a calculator. And this calculator, again, was based on delta vital sign. So when you have, as you can see here, these data from our electronic patient record. So that's from one of our patients, and the electronic patient record can create this over time assessment of the blood pressure, invasive systolic blood pressure in blue, mean blood pressure in red, diastolic blood pressure in green, and pulse pressure in yellow. For this specific patient, the blood pressure dropped significantly over a short period of time from pulse, and the most significant drop was in the pulse pressure, dropped from almost 10 or 11. That's first day of life. Infant was born at 27 weeks, and the pulse pressure dropped to 6. Was not only pulse pressure, but all of the blood pressure parameters dropped. Without understanding what's going on, you may just start dopamine for this infant. If you look at the mean blood pressure only, but this infant, because of narrow pulse pressure, we assumed it could be LV dysfunction or could be underfilling of the heart. This infant, with assessment of electrolytes, we found the sodium jumped to 160, and there was significant dehydration, and the heart was almost empty and was just given fluids. And within a short period of time, the blood pressure improved. As you can see here, the pulse pressure now improved, which is now in the blue line. Light blue improved to 25/19, maintained with a normal value. So we have all of the trends over time for the blood pressure, systolic, diastolic, mean blood pressure, and pulse pressure, and also the heart rate. Over just very short period of time, over less than 6 hours, everything normalized after recovery of the intravascular volume. The same as you can do typically with any other vital sign. We have this infant who was 25 weeker at birth, corrected age 30 weeker, and was severe chronic lung disease on high static mechanical ventilation requiring oxygen up to 60 to 70%. And this is the trend of the oxygen histograms. Again, this data extracted from the patient record. That's what we can see every day on patient electronic patient records, and we can see the trend and the impact of our management on real time. So I extracted this table from the patient record, and we have, as you can see here, the oxygen saturation histogram within the target limit between 91 to 95 for this infant around 30 weeker, corrected, was actually low. And this is represented in the green line. And the saturation much below the target, 80 to 85, and 80 below 80% was around 4%, 1% equal 15% of the time of the day. So that's a histogram over one day. And the oxygen histogram improved significantly after appropriate intervention. So we did lung ultrasound, was very high score. We started diuretics because the lung was flooded of fluids, and the infant was very edematous, very puffy. And we did that to prepare the infant for dexamethasone. And just over 3 days, the diuretics improved partially, the oxygen histograms. And after we started dexamethasone and watching the oxygen histograms over time, you can see the target saturation improved significantly and became 74% within the target. And the infant extubated successfully and CPAP of 7 room air after being 70% oxygen with severe chronic lung disease, very edematous lung, and very high lung ultrasound score. So let us describe what we did even before the era of artificial intelligence or ChatGPT and whatever available. These calculators, we try to make these calculators to make your life easier. and to help you to decide is this infant in what stage of shock, and also what phenotype of shock. I'll just give you a simple case scenario here. Infant was just born 24 weeks, and the blood pressure was 30 systolic, diastolic of 22, so very narrow pulse pressure, and 25 mean blood pressure. And the calculator will calculate for you the pulse pressure. Lactic acid was high and was so early to evaluate for oliguria. And after you calculate, you will get the impression, is it within normal or not? But if we change the calculator parameters, will give you different numbers. But if this infant blood pressure was much higher, was, for example, 40 few hours ago, and the systolic blood pressure was 25 and mean was 30, and because this infant was actually also normal blood pressure, but he has clinically significant drop in the blood pressure. These numbers, the infant was stable and they dropped the blood pressure for more than 20%. I just emphasize on the importance of calculating the delta vital sign. You need to have two different points of vital signs and evaluate the difference between both. Now we can go to the echocardiography, and if you do echo, you can just highlight the points that you need in this calculator, and calculator will give you the value for other things. For example, the echocardiography showed low cardiac output. So in this example was 55, for example, left cardiac output, 60 for right, and filling was reduced. Left ventricle performance was impaired. RV performance was impaired as well. There is no PDA and no pulmonary hypertension. And what else you are getting here, the systemic vascular resistance was very high, and very high in this infant because of underfilling of the heart. This infant was dehydrated, the heart was empty, and the systemic vascular resistance is the compensatory mechanism of the body. So the body will vasoconstrict the blood vessels to compensate for the reduced volume. For this infant, what you need to do is just to give fluids. If you start dobutamine or dopamine, definitely the shock will be worsened, and the infant may die without understanding what is the cause of death. If you go to the oxygen indices as a next step, we'll ask you about hemoglobin, the calculator, and you need to enter the oxygen saturation. And if you have near infrared spectroscopy, you can also add the cerebral tissue oxygen saturation. And once you hit calculate, it will give you the value for the total oxygen delivery. Normal oxygen delivery in our body in units in any subject is 20 to 40 ml per kg. Once you get the oxygen delivery to single digit, you are at risk of lactic acidosis. If you have 10 to 18, definitely it is low. Less than 10, it is extremely low, and the infant is at risk of anaerobic metabolism. By doing that, you will understand that your infant is at risk and you can intervene very early. So here, the software will also help you to understand what category of shock is it. Vasodilatory shock, and what are the causes for vasodilatory shock, for example, septic shock, late onset shock, and could be medication induced, and what you need to do, medication that you need to intervene or consider with. Category number 2, when you have vasoconstrictor shock, which could be failure of post-natal transition. It could be dehydration, like in our case that we described, post-TB deligation, AV malformation. Could be pulmonary hypertension. When you have increased pulmonary vascular resistance, you may have in the systemic circulation parallel increased systemic vascular resistance, or could be HIE related because cooling is vasoconstrictor, and that might impact the cardiac output as well. Category number 3, when you have cardiogenic shock, which is could be extreme category 1 and category 2, and you need to intervene. Definitely, you need to do echocardiography in this category. Category number 4, when you have overlap multiple phenotypes together. There's another another app to help you to understand underlying physiology. So in our case, the diastolic blood pressure was the normal, but the pulse pressure was low, and cardiac output was low, and systemic vascular resistance was high. So that's vasoconstrictor physiology, and now we understand why the body vasoconstrict in this case to compensate for the dehydration. By doing that, we have done that for so many calculators, and most of these calculators are available on newbeats.academy website, newbeats.academy, and they are available for free. Anyone can use them without any restriction. But the simplicity issue. So the people still like the simplicity. They still like to just rely on parameter. They hate to do calculations. They hate to do more homework and find more detailed phenotype for the type of the disease they are treating. And that's a problem. So we found now in the era of artificial intelligence that we have to do it even more simple. So that's what we are looking for. Before we consider the cloning, which is the next step of simplicity, making it even more simple for the people to use, we used the same platform I'm using right now to present to you as a digital smart educator. So if I'm now presenting to you or educating in a workshop, I don't have to travel all the way to Middle East to spend almost 14 hours of flight and to come to you and educate you in your workshop. I don't have to do that anymore. I can control the workshop remotely through the digital smart educator. And let me show you that in the next slide. So for example, I'm just teaching you now simply how to evaluate lung ultrasound. So this smart educator enable sound, adjust disable sound, and like they will let me just explain it myself. But there is a sound behind explaining step by step how to evaluate this lung ultrasound. Step by step, just asking you look at the pleura first and evaluate the pleura and select one from the menu, one of the 5 options. Is it a smooth, thin pleura? Definitely not thickened or fragmented or absent. You cannot see the pleural interface for more than 50% of the lung zone, or there is effusion. So it is fragmented pleura. And then ask you what you see below the pleural line here in the lung. Is it A lines or B lines or coalescent B lines or coalescent B lines with air bronchogram? So if you select the right answer, you will get compliment explanation about you are correct and explaining written and in sound why you are correct. But if you are incorrect, just I will select any other random. For example, thin and smooth, and select air with A lines below the pleura, and I make it even worse. I said that, yeah, there is pneumothorax here. We'll just reply to you, there is no pneumothorax, and you are incorrect, and so on. So explain why you are incorrect. So teaching you step by step. They're just like I'm just showing you one slide, but it's very detailed, stepwise in one complete module, how to interpret and how to evaluate lung ultrasound, and then how to make a report at the end, and how to integrate that into clinical assessment. We are trying to do the same on echocardiography, in other ultrasound applications, in assessment of mechanical ventilation, exactly the same way, to make them making decision for the appropriate respiratory support, how to intervene, and how to adjust mechanical ventilation. And this is smart educator tool, self-driven. I don't have to be there. I can teach you remotely how to use it over a short period of time, and just give you an access, and you do it yourself. I don't have to be there anymore. Is another scenario here, just simple scenario. You are looking at this echocardiography, and you need to select whatever applicable to this image. If you select pulmonary hypertension, because there is tricuspid regurg will let you know it is incorrect, and there is sound letting you why you are incorrect. Because if you have impaired contractility, it is the priority, because you need to treat and intervene with the poor contractility before treating pulmonary hypertension. So you have to consider the priority in this case, and also teaching you the stage of impaired contractility, mild, moderate, or severe, and based on specific parameters. So it is a precise in assessment instead of just looking and relying on building your own experience over time, giving you the experience ready to learn and ready to apply over a short period of time. But what you need to do in this educator, you need to complete the module for the educator, and you will do mistakes in between, definitely, if you're at the learning stage. And will advise you and will guide you. You need to complete everything 3 times in a row without any single error or mistake. And if you do that, you will grant you the certificate. And typically, you will not forget this experience forever. And that will shorten the time of your learning skills, and you will get to the top very quickly. I'll just give you the lung ultrasound and echocardiography as examples, but that's applicable to everything you do in your life, including even outside the neonatology concept. Anything in medicine can be done in the same way. You can reset and you can redo that again and again. So that's just an idea about the future of education. I don't have to travel. I don't have to do it myself. I need to guide you how to use it. I need to explain to you the physiology, and then you do it yourself. Next, I will be talking about cloning. Cloning is just an idea that was explained nicely by Dr. Khorshid about how to use artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, Gemini, any artificial intelligence, just a platform, raw platform. These platforms are not expert. You have to make them expert. So how we did that, we created a model like a twinning. So every single publication in neonatal hemodynamics consistent with our concept of our integrated assessment, and just excluding anything not really valid or not validated, and then creating a very detailed library, and that can be embedded on Google Drive or any kind of external drive. You cannot embed everything you need inside the ChatGPT. You need to create a separate library for everything, all of the guidelines, all of the lectures, and then you need to write a very detailed different documents how ChatGPT should use this library. So that's very time-consuming part. You need to create that. And it should be very precise and very easy for ChatGPT to understand step by step how to do the calculations, for example, for oxygen delivery in different ways. Through artificial intelligence, now we are using even non-invasive and blood pressure. If you have pulse pressure, invasive or non-invasive, and heart rate, the calculator or the artificial intelligence can give you the estimated cardiac output and systemic vascular resistance based on the normative value that integrated all together with the abnormal values and created a R or a fixed number that can be used all the time for any equation. And it is almost 85% accurate to echocardiography to give you the cardiac output and systemic vascular resistance. And I will show you how to use that. So when you have this twin of neonatal hemodynamics, I consider it as my twin. I name it as Y new for hemodynamics, and that can be created for any other branch of neonatology. And it's very detailed, as I mentioned, library, including everything, and that will help the AI to answer your question. So you don't have to go to the website and subscribe for our website for calculators, and that will consume time. During round, you just use your cell phone or your iPad, and you can actually talk to the iPad. You don't have to even write it. Just give the patient information. There's a preterm infant to a 27-weeker, 6 days old, and the blood pressure so and so. When the infant was stable, that was the blood pressure, and the infant is now deteriorating, and what is the blood pressure? Just a few simple details. And once you have echocardiography in more detail, just speak to the application, and I will show you how much information that you can get. So if you create this table here, very simple table, you don't have to be expert in echocardiography to make this table. I'm just asking you to make a table of heart rate, pulse pressure, diastolic blood pressure, hemoglobin, oxygen saturation. If you have NIRS, if you don't have it, that's fine. Urine output and lactic acid, and make first assessment and second assessment. Remember, delta vital signs. Delta is very important. You need to have 2 points, because the 2 points will enable the artificial intelligence to calculate the significance of or the variability over time. If this change is significant or not. If it is more than 20% in most of the vital signs, that's really significant, either positive or negative, depend on the heart rate. So the heart rate, if it is negative, definitely have bradycardia. That's a bad sign. Pulse pressure, the same idea, diastolic blood pressure, and so on. So very simple table, and it will take just a couple of minutes to create this table. And what you need just to enable this table to the twin expert. And I will show you when we did that, how much information that you can get. So look at the twin calculator. Just I asked the calculator to just go back here. Use a new heme, NEO-heme. That's the name that I have given for the twin hemodynamics AI, and they're just 2 full pages of very detailed assessment, just based on very simple data. So because I did not give the systolic blood pressure and mean blood pressure, but the system calculated then from the pulse pressure and the diastolic blood pressure. So I'll give you just the raw data first, just to review that with you. And then I will give you the systemic vascular resistance for the first assessment when the infant was stable, and second assessment when the infant deteriorated. So there is increase in the trend of the systemic vascular resistance. And the oxygen delivery significantly decreased. So you have 35 initially, and the drop to 16. Although 16 is borderline low, but you have more than half decrease in oxygen delivery. Again, the trend, the delta vital sign is very important. And then you have the centile values based on the centile normative value that we already integrated. And then we'll move on to the most important part. It'll give you the targeted plan, what you need to do next. So immediately you need to consider echocardiography within 10 to 15 minutes, and will give you the measurements or the parameters that you need to measure on echocardiography, and give you another advice: avoid pure vasodilators. Don't use dobutamine or merinone, like pure vasodilators in this case, in this phenotype. And the phenotype that was described as category number 4, which is overlap, is not pure vasodilatory, is not pure vasoconstrictor, it is overlap, dominant cardiogenic element with low diastolic blood pressure and significantly low oxygen delivery. You give you what you need to monitor. You need to monitor the pulse pressure. You need to target pulse pressure between 18 to 20, mean blood pressure between 27 to 28, and the cardiac output between 150 to 350. You don't have to do echocardiography. Even blood pressure, when you enable blood pressure, the calculator will give you the assessed or estimated cardiac output based on the blood pressure only. And then at the end, will give you the bottom line, the category. You have category number 4, overlap shock with dominant cardiogenic element, plus low diastolic blood pressure, clinically significant by all triggers with the low oxygen delivery. And then start inotropy, if you haven't done echocardiography yet, plus gentle vasopressor if needed. And consider back the RBCs because the hemoglobin dropped, although did not drop like to very low level, but that will help to improve the oxygen delivery because oxygen delivery is a hemoglobin, oxygen saturation, and the cardiac output. So that's about cloning experience to AI twinning. And I named it as my AI twin because I enabled everything, like all of my library of publications, guidelines, and all of the lectures enabled in a library on Google Drive, link it to ChatGPT, and I have given very detailed guidance for the AI, how to use all of these tools to make uh, uh, expert assessment and give advice based on that. So if in the future, I will enable the same twin to you available in public. We are working on that. That will cost some money, so we need really a fund. So we are working to get that fund ready, and we have IT person and the team working to get that model public and can be used by anyone in the world. So if you have any issue with hemodynamics, just enable this simple table to the same model, and they will give you a very helpful guidance what you need to do next. Either you can go ahead and consider treatment, or you need to do echocardiography because it's complex case. And if you do echocardiography, what parameters that you need to measure, and what we are looking at, and how to normalize these parameters. Very detailed assessment. Now, let us talk about future. What you need to do, what we are expecting in the future. The future of neonatal intensive care. Just if I ask you, just to close your eye for a second, all of you, and imagine that you are now working in neonatal intensive care unit, in very busy unit, and ask, I'm going to take from you your cell phone, your computers, your electronic patient records. The internet will be disabled. Imagine that can happen in your unit. You will feel that you are paralyzed. Also imagine that after my graduation in 1990s, that was the situation. There was no internet, there was no cell phones, smartphones, there was no electronic patient record. And we never imagined in about 20 years the situation will be as we have today. In about 10 years from now, the practice in ICU will be totally different and relying on artificial intelligence to the extent that you never imagine. So if I ask you to close your eye 10 years from now and imagine I will take from you the artificial intelligence, you will not believe it. You will not believe that you can survive without AI. So that will be the situation, the neonatal intensive care in the future. Actually, there's a lot of companies in US and Canada and Europe, they are working on the tools that I'm actually explaining and talking right now. So the incubator itself will be smart. The monitors will be touchless, will be just a camera, and the camera will detect the changes in the perfusion, touchless, and will express the blood pressure, cardiac outputs, oxygen saturation, everything touchless. The incubator itself will be very smart. The incubator will not be just a box of glass, like adjusting the temperature and humidity. Everything will be digital, and the humidity, temperature, oxygen inside will be adjusted based on the needs for the infant. And will be touchless assessment continuously 24 hours for the electrolytes. So that will adjust the medication, the TPN all over the hour. The infant will be getting exactly what's needed, and will not be in need to take blood samples every day from babies, because the blood samples will be taken much less frequently, and will be a device the same as we are using now for blood sugar, but all of the electrolytes, hemoglobin, everything will be just transcutaneous assessment, transcutaneous, and that will be enabled at the bedside. You can know exactly 24 hours 7 all the time what is the electrolytes and how we can intervene, and you can just do much less frequent blood samples. You love, or everything neonatologists now love to do ultrasound. In the future, you don't need to do ultrasound because the ultrasound will be touchless, will be evaluating three-dimensional organ, and that can be evaluated at any time, and even bedside nurse can do it and can refer that immediately to the physician. You don't have to be at the bedside. The way that we are doing management right now, come in the morning doing round, all of the team should be around. That will not be the future. You don't have to assess the infant in just one time a day, coming and doing round, making decision. It is just as you are, you have 3 hours movie and you are just satisfied watching 5 minutes of the movie and you get the conclusion. That's not enough. The continuous assessment, continuous monitoring will be through the AI integrating all of the vital signs all of the time and will give you red flags. And the red flags will be directed to you wherever you are on your computer, and red flags will help you. This infant will be developing shock or sepsis and need to intervene now. So what we had in the future, we react almost after the problem happened, after the infant developed shock or sepsis. What we are trying to do now to predict the problem at the early stages of shock. In the future, the problem will be detected even before it happened in real time through very smart red flags coming to your computer. So the conclusion of my presentation, I already presented the risk of shock is higher if you are ignoring the critical measurements. And to make it simple and easy, we'll make the measurements that you need to do to the minimum. And you can do it just by speaking to an app or just share a very simple table to app, and the artificial intelligence will give you very detailed physiology. So you don't have to use your brain while you are tired and exhausted in ICU. The AI will help you to make the decision in real time and very quickly. The digital assessment of hemodynamics is now AI twinning, cloning of the expert. So you don't have to ask me directly, or you don't have to ask any other expert in hemodynamics. Will enable that online, and this AI will available public, so you can ask exactly as you are asking expert in real time. The education, I don't have to travel, and the same for Dr. Khorshid, for everyone, because education can be smart, digital enabled, and you can do that with just we are away and controlling with very simple participation from us, but the educator will help you to do that from A to Z. At the end, we develop the calculator, so it is our product, it is our experience, but it is available for you, and you can use it at your own pace, self-driven by you. AI has unlimited potentials for making our lives smooth and easy. And typically the future is artificial intelligence. Again, artificial intelligence, it is not just created to be used as is. We need to educate the artificial intelligence, and we need to customize based on our needs and use. And thank you very much. Happy to have your questions.
Thank you very much, Prof. Dr. Yasser, for your excellent wallahi and insightful presentation. Really great job and great overview how to use the AI in the critical care decision making. I remember Dr. Khorshid يعملون له ما يشاء من محاريب وتماثيل. Really amazing. I cannot fully imagine this will happen really, يعني, because we are still behind.
Yeah, it is coming and will be available. So just our efforts will try to make your life easy and to make it, as Dr. Khorshid says, simple as we can.
MashaAllah. Really, MashaAllah, after your both of your talks, now we have a clearer insight for how to use AI in our daily works. What I can add to this or comment on that, that always we are looking how to have an intelligent. But as it's not in our Holy Quran that we need the rushd or the right answer for my patient. This is what Alhamdulillah, I saw in my patient, really totally different when I use your, mashallah, your insightful and your approach, you and Dr. Khorshid. This is what it will give me some, I feel that Alhamdulillah, still I'm not that much, too much bad. I'm not that much good, but not bad. At least my patient, Alhamdulillah, improving of really updating and using your approach, Dr. Yasser. Thank you very much, Wallah.
Your role model, Dr. Asma, definitely for all of the upcoming generations. You started at low pace, and when I met with you many years ago, and now you are one of the educator and leaders in your area. So congratulations
Thank you
on
very
your
much.
achievement.
Still, we are many learners, Doctor, many learners. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah,
Thank
you're
you
so
very
humble.
much. Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll see the question now. The floor open for the question.
I have one question, Asma.
Yes.
اتفضل دكتور طارق.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Yasser, for this very nice presentation, and Dr. Khorshid. Unfortunately, I missed because I'm on call. I missed most of Dr. Khorshid's presentation. But my question, because I always take the opportunity when you are there, Dr. Yasser, to ask you for some question came to my mind when seeing my patient. So I have a few days ago, I have a patient who is severe pulmonary hypertension after meconium aspiration. Baby was on 100% oxygen. We talked to the ECMO team and they came to assess the baby, and we started some inotropes, and they said, let us wait and see what we'll do. We came in the next shift to receive the baby. Baby was on milrinone and vasopressin, but we question about the filling of the heart, because at that time the baby was on restricted intake. So when we do focusing of the IVC, the IVC was really hugely dilated. Even the hepatic veins was hugely dilated. So they was not convinced about giving any balls. But I said, let us go for the four-chamber view and the long axis view. So long axis view, was really kissing ventricles. And when we do the apical view, also the heart looks empty. So I said, then the question came, how is the IVC is hugely dilated? Even the hepatic veins are hugely dilated. So I remember one of your talk when you talk about vasopressin, and you said vasopressin is venodilator. I still remember this from your words. So I said maybe because of vasopressin is venodilator, so we saw these dilatations, IVC and the hepatic vein, and let us give the boluses. And we gave almost 2 boluses 20 ml per kilo, and patient blood pressure improved. So is this true what I think? And sometimes that the IVC is not the proper way to check the cardiac filling or the hydration status of the patient? And sorry, it's a long question.
No, it is a wonderful question, and always like your contribution and your question, Dr. Tariq. Very smart question. In neonates, we advocate don't rely on inferior vena cava and hepatic veins for assessment of volume depletion for very simple reason. the neonates, they have on the physiology, the right atrial pressure or the right side pressure is physiologically higher than children, especially during the transition. Typically because you have higher pulmonary vascular resistance, and that's reflected on the right atrium and the right ventricle. The inferior vena cava connected to the right atrium without valve. So when you have the pressure higher in the right side of the heart, will be reflected on the inferior vena cava, and also hepatic veins. They are connected to inferior vena cava without valves, so the pressure will be reflected on them. So what you have seen dilated hepatic veins and the inferior vena cava is just because of the high pulmonary artery pressure, and does not reflect the overall volume or the volume depletion. Always that can be assessed in, for example, emergency. We have a child admitted to emergency, not yet on mechanical ventilation. You can look at the inferior vena cava. But once you have the neonate on mechanical ventilation on CPAP, and the negative pressure inside the chest is now altered or became more positive, that also impact the inferior vena cava. So I have multiple reasons not to rely on the inferior vena cava for fluid replacement. Most of sick neonates, they are on mechanical ventilation, so that will make it unreliable. And also when you have pulmonary hypertension, the most sensitive, as we are teaching, the most sensitive marker of volume depletion is look at the left ventricle collapsibility and end systolic volume. If you haven't done the echocardiography yet, look at the pulse pressure. When you have pulse pressure and high diastolic pressure, that's another sign that gives the physiology of vasoconstrictor physiology that could be due to volume depletion, because the body is also vasoconstrict as a reaction to volume depletion. If you don't have echo, what you need to do is just to give a volume, normal saline, bolus, and look at the pulse pressure. The pulse pressure started to widen gradually. It means that the infant is responsive to fluid, assuming that you haven't done echo or you don't have a point of care ultrasound to be done. But the bottom line, don't rely on inferior vena cava in these cases. Rely mainly on left ventricle collapsibility. Vasopressin is vasopressor, and vasopressor also to the veins, so the squeezing vein to fill the left atrium. That's one of the values, because there is one of the receptors for the vasopressin present in the veins.
Okay, thank you so much. It's very helpful, actually. Thank you.
Hello. I'm
Hello,
Dr. Tamadur. Yeah, welcome. Thank you, Dr. Khurshid and Dr. Yasser, for a very nice presentation. And I really appreciate your pioneer work in neonatal neurology and advanced cardiology, hemodynamic stability. Now, today, this is a very interesting talk for me, and really appreciate your pioneer work also in incorporating AI in neonatal medicine. My question, what is available for us is the free tools like Gemini and ChatGPT and so on. What is the intellectual property rights if we use this in our work? Because sometimes we are using it in writing our reports and so on. But as I know, there is a code while you are, there is coding system when you are using all this. So if we use it, what is the rights? What's the work belong to whom? Just out of the medicine, just I want to know about this. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Dr. Khurshid is still with us, but I can answer your question. Thank you. That's very important question, Dr. Tamadur. So Tamadur, yeah. For ChatGPT, as I mentioned before, if you are using the free version, that will not give you all of the options, very restricted options. I have the Pro version, which is very expensive. You are paying almost $200, close to $300 per month. That's too much. That's probably like too much, especially for low and middle income countries. Unfortunately, the free version is very limited and sometimes misleading. Will not really help you to get whatever you need. But the most important regarding your question, as long as you are not sharing any specific patient details, you are not sharing any few specific details, and this is your own account, you are safe. So, for example, just asking generic question without any specific patient or not sharing patient information, which is a very big liability. You are okay. You are fine. So it's fine to use, but again, just to be very careful using the generic form of ChatGPT or any other form, not the customized one. You may get a lot of hallucination. And the hallucination mean you get a lot of incorrect answer, because like the ChatGPT now connected to huge unlimited number of data, and some of the data available online as just garbage. And we can give you and we tried that before. I tried the free version in one question, and it was very like stupid answer. And then I tried the same with the customized one and give me what I need, because I customize, I need to educate the GPT what I need. And unfortunately, you cannot do that in the free version. You need the paid one, like to customize, to make your own model, and you teach and also keep in the memory. You have to keep ask ChatGPT, keep these documents in your memory and use it in this way. You have to explain exactly how to use this memorized folders or links, and when and how to give the answer. Sometimes the memory like is limited. You need to create a drive on Google Drive and give the ChatGPT the link, and also guide how to use the link and for what purpose. So a lot of work, and again, probably you need to attend maybe a course or training how to do that, or you can ask help from IT person how to make that for you. But again, that's not unfortunately available on the free version of these apps or these AI applications.
Thank you.
Although sometimes we are telling him, please give me evidence-based, what is your reference? Deep thinking, we are using sometimes deep thinking. Is it okay? Or you didn't
It's different,
try
yeah.
it? Differs
Right, yeah.
also.
Yeah, there's multiple options. Like it will give you instant answer, deep thinking, or deep search. And deep search is available in the way that we like in the Pro version. The Pro version
Okay.
is expensive. Yeah, so that's a problem. It's really expensive, and deep search might take maybe sometimes 10 minutes, 20, 15 minutes to give you answer of one question.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we'll give you all of the resources.
Yes.
Some of my colleagues started to use it to maybe create articles, or can give you like at the end nice looking article, but inside garbage, and also can give you wrong
Yes.
like wrong resources, and not exactly the right references. We see that when we evaluate articles in like applied for journals for review. And once we see the person used AI to create the references, that's automatic rejection. It means that the person was actually cheating and using.
Is it considered as plagiarism or what? If I use like ChatGPT to make an article or to have, although the raw data is my own data, but I use his help to create, for example, an article.
Yes, if you use it to create an article from A to Z, it's very easy for me as reviewer when I review article for publication. If you are submitting to like a respected journal, definitely I will detect it. It's very easy to detect that because I have the software to evaluate your article and give me the feedback. Is it created by ChatGPT or by human? So to do that, I will just give you two advices. First, don't don't ask ChatGPT to make the whole document for you, just piece by piece. Please help me to make the methods more adjusted as per the published guidelines or data. And you can give example. Please make my conclusion more clear. So you have to do it piece by piece. And then after you do it with the ChatGPT, you have to take it and humanize it. So there is another platform or another application called humanization.
Yes.
So convert that written by ChatGPT to more humanized. And after you do that, you have to apply to another platform to evaluate the grammar, because the grammar sometimes, or the language on humanized is not perfect, is not pure human. So like there is a very reliable AI for grammar, like Grammarly, for example. So run that by Grammarly and they will give you the perfect product at the end. So you have to do that in multiple stages and multiple steps. So do it piece by piece, like don't do it all as one document and give it to ChatGPT to evaluate it one time, piece by piece, and then humanized, and then check another third platform for grammar and language. And that will, when I read it, I understand that is written by and adjusted by human, not by artificial intelligence.
Okay, understood. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Yasser.
With pleasure, Dr. Tamador.
There is Dr. Basma. She raised her hand. Okay, you are unmuted, Dr. Basma. Okay. I open. دكتور أمير.
يا دكتور انا فتح لها المايك بس هي ما فتحتش.
فتحنا لأنه ما مش بيفتح من عندي.
المايك افيلابل بس هي مش بتعمل انميوت.
تمام. Very interesting, really, Dr. Yasser. Like we are dreaming, or we are, يعني still we cannot fully imagine what you are telling, but inshallah we'll try to hear it once and again and again, inshallah.
Okay.
Really, on behalf of my Najran Armed Forces Hospital, and the organizing, on behalf on my hospital and the organizing committee, thank you very much, Dr. Yasser and Dr. Khurshid, wallahi, for this, for the يعني positive and valuable contribution in this today in this webinar. Really amazing. وجزاكم الله خير. ربنا يبارك فيك يا رب. الله عليك. Any question from ربنا يبارك في حضرتك يا رب. ان شاء الله ما تكونش اخر حاجه دكتور ياسر باذن الله، وان شاء الله نشوف حضرتك يعني باذن الله تعالى ان شاء الله.
باذن الله على خير دايما. وان شاء الله موجودين for any question at any time from all of the colleagues online. You can contact me for any related question.
Not your AI twin يعني.
Okay. Yeah, inshallah in the future soon will be available, so you can have my twin and many twins, one for hemodynamics, one for respiratory support, and that will be available. We are working on it. Like we have our IT person that's really trying to help and make it public and available, inshallah.
Thank you, والله جزاك الله خير. So we'll have the opportunity to work with your twin inshallah soon, inshallah.
Inshallah, and that will be available even after life, after pass away. We'll have the twins available, but we'll have maybe our generation to create more twins, not only me.
ربنا يبارك في عمرك وينفع بيك وبعلمك يا دكتور ياسر دايما يا رب كده هوت. وحقيقي حضرتك نورت لنا حاجات كتير، يعني اسم حضرتك دايما عندنا في الوحدة، وقد ايه والله يعني all my colleagues I think and my juniors and doctors colleagues they know what is everything Dr. Yasser is telling يعني الحمد لله. ما شاء الله.
يعني ده كله من برضه من فضل يعني مجهودك وتعليمك ليهم،
جزاك الله.
فدي
الله يبارك فيك.
حاجة
الله
نفتخر
يبارك
بيها.
فيك. ربنا يبارك في حضرتك، جزاك الله كل خير يا دكتور ياسر، وربنا يبارك في حضرتك يا رب.
آمين جميعا إن شاء الله.
الله يبارك فيك.
آمين
نراك
جميعا
إن
إن
شاء
شاء الله.
الله. see you soon إن شاء الله بإذن الله يا دكتور، إن شاء الله.
بإذن الله
إن
على
شاء الله.
خير. بإذن
إن
الله.
شاء الله.
شكرا جزيلا، وشكرا للجميع لوجودكم معانا لغاية دلوقتي، وإن شاء الله يعني نلتقي قريبا بإذن الله.
إن شاء الله.
إن شاء الله يا
Very
دكتور.
shortly
شكرا
physically.
شكرا جزيلا لحضراتكم.
شكرا
الله.
جزيلا. السلام عليكم.
جزاك
السلام
الله
عليكم.
وعليكم
بحمدك
السلام
أشهد
ورحمة
أن
الله
لا
وبركاته.
إله إلا أنت أستغفرك.